Hello, good afternoon, guys. Basically, what I'm trying to teach you today would be how to add resources, how to add costs to your activities, because majority of these activities represent packages of work. So what would happen is they would require resources. As we say, projects are about people, so the likelihood is that these activities will definitely require resources, materials, labor, non-labor, etc., and costs associated to them in order to carry out the actual activities to meet the objectives. So first of all, what I would do is show you guys over here we've got constraints. So what I would do is always remember to try and make sure that logic follows majority of your logic. Well, basically logic follows majority of the sequencing of your work. So what I would do is just take up this constraint off of the program, and we go to primary constraints, you click on it, go forward, and here we are. So you see all of this basically means start or not after. What you don't want to do is you don't want to constrain any of your activities. You let the logic flow so that when you schedule it, it can move and calculate the forward pass and backward pass by itself, as opposed to you constraining and skewing up the total float values. So what we would do here is go to none, take it off, and then select all the way down. You see, this is another route of doing the fast works. You right click it, you fill down, and it's all gone. You see the dates changed as soon as I did that. Now I'm sure that this does not have logic fully in it, so in order to find out whether it does, we go to the relationships and we click on the activities. As you can tell, the activities don't have any logic associated with them, but this would just be for the purposes of teaching you guys how to create resources and add costs to your project program. So what we'll do, you look on the right hand side, and here you hover over it and it says resource assignments. So there are different ways in which you can do the creation of resources. You could either do it via this method where you open up the resource window and it has all the information, the labor, non-labor, materials of pre-created resources that you have within your organization. Now what you could also do is, if you scroll down, it has every single resource that has been created prior and all the details, whether it's a labor resource. It says to me that I can't change whether it's a labor resource, non-labor resource, and material. The units of measure will be pounds per or dollars per. We're obviously operating in the United Kingdom, so it's going to be the currency British pounds, and this is the calendar associated to that resource. So if you had a particular resource and you wanted to associate a calendar to it where it can depict all the working days for that resource and the productivity levels, you simply come to this window here. I'll close that. This window here, you go to the details, and that tells you the details of the actual resources. You go to general and it gives you the basic information. You go to codes if it has any activity codes assigned to it. You also go to the unit prices. As I said, it's max units per time, so it's 1 per day, price unit of 200 for this particular activity. And you go to the roles. You can assign roles to it as well, which would have been pre-created, and you can put notes onto it where you put notes about the actual resource. So if I just say ASDFT, those notes, when this is assigned, will appear underneath. So it gives the user or any of the other end users some sort of information surrounding the actual resource. Now, as I said, there are different ways of trying to associate resources with activities. First of all, you've got to create the resources, and you do so either by using the wizard. So anything to the right of the panel will be the wizard, and anything to this side here with the right click would just literally create the resource. So it's better to use the wizard because it walks you through it. So we'll use it as R9872, and we call this resource a subsea engineer. So you name it, and as usual we'll put it as a labor because it's a person, it's an engineer. So you could either choose non-labor if it's machinery and equipment, or material supplies. So we'll go for labor. We won't change the unit of measure, we'll leave it as is. So we go forward, and here we have the price per unit. So this will be what the cost is per hour, or we could put it as per day, but I would prefer to put it per hour because the measure is usually per hour, totaling up to 8 hours a day. A max units per time will be 8 days maximum. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll put, say for instance, we'll put 1, but obviously it won't be 1. We could say 40 for that matter, so £40 an hour. The telephone number 0203 005 4887. Email address sean.k@rattigan.com. So this gives you brief info about the individual. Now if we wanted to assign roles, if we had roles created already up here, we haven't got any for this particular project, so we could say all roles, and here we are. You see, if we say all roles, we can assign a role. Basically is role ID. You would have created that from the enterprises and roles, so this literally just gives them a role within the organization. So role ID, so it's like employee ID, and then you have the project engineer. Okay, so we will not assign any roles. So we say select an existing calendar. So what I would do is I'll create a new personal calendar for this resource, and that would be, we'll use a subsea engineer, and that's what it's going to be called. So we'll view and edit, and we'll say for instance the holidays, when his availability would be to work or not work. We know it's 8 hours a day. We'll put total work hours per day, which is this. So let's just say he doesn't work on Wednesdays. We click on non-work. He doesn't work, okay, Wednesdays, we'll just say Wednesdays, and Mondays, we click that as well, non-work, for April, the month of April. So now what we've done is, as you can see here, this day he doesn't work, so it's 0. So what we will then do is, on that particular day, let's just say he doesn't work on that day, doesn't work on this day, he's 8 hours a day. That's 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours a day, and he has a lunchtime break for an hour from 12 o'clock. So that's all set, and what we want to do is, let me go back because I've just included him as work. So we go to work week. So this is his work week for Monday, his work week for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, non-working days, weekends. So if you needed to edit and put the non-working days or holiday periods for this particular resource, you can do that from this window here. Then you assign the calendar to them. So just remember, we've put for the 3rd and the 5th of April, say for instance he said he wasn't available, you can obviously depict that and it will reflect. So we've okayed that, and then we go forward and we have auto compute actuals for this resource. Always leave it left to this, and what it means is auto compute is when there are any changes in progress, you want it to automatically calculate it and update it for each of the activities. And there you are, it's created, the subsea engineer. Alright, so that activity is created. We now go back to our project view, and at this point we say to ourselves, this is a shop drawings, drawings and approvals. What I would prefer to do is go to a project that is oil and gas driven, so that way we're able to assign it directly to an oil and gas type of project. And we have one here that was previously set up. I'll just find that for you. Field development plan. So we open that project, and here we are, and I have some others assigned already. So what I would do is assign it from over here. We click onto that, and we have the subsea engineer that we've just assigned, and then we assign him to that activity, and that's it. So there you are, the subsea engineer has been assigned. Now in order to look through and see what his details are whilst it's been assigned, you come down to the details window. That is what this area here is called. This details window, you look for where you have the actual expenses, which there isn't any now. So you come to the resources, and it gives you all of the information pertaining to the subsea engineer, right? It tells you it's a primary resource, and it tells you the resource type, units, as you can see, 8 per day, original lag 0 days, start, finish, budgeted 160, actual regular units, which means actuals when he has actually done some sort of work, which he clearly hasn't, and remain in early units, and he has none of the roles assigned to him. So you can either do this to bring out some more columns pertaining to this individual, and there you are. So you've got all of this to, you know, put in there. If you wanted the price per unit as well, you could do that and bring it further down, and there you have it. Price per unit will be in there as well, £40 per hour, as you can see. And if you wanted any of his other details, the rate type for instance, you could put that in there, you know. So it kind of tells you quite a bit about this resource. Okay, so that's the whole idea. And as you can tell, the budgeted units basically is just the estimate of what will be required for this particular resource. As you can see, it says 160. The reason for that is we've had it at £1. Sorry, the budgeted units, we've got it as 160 because we've got 8 hours per day. So if we've got 8 hours per day, if you just look over here, the budgeted remaining units is 8 hours a day, and this is 160. So what that will tell you is per day it's 8 hours at 1 hour, 8 hours a day, 8 days. Sorry, 8 hours per day. So 8 for 1 day, it's 8 hours. So for 20 days, that'll be 160 units. So we usually use time in terms of units. So that will be 160 units in total budgeted for this particular activity in terms of resource. Okay, so that is the whole idea of the resourcing for each of the activities. Thank you very much, and I hope this was a very satisfying lesson for yourselves.